All right, so Mr. Nova Sound, what's good?
Hustling like always, you know.
What you working on?
I am currently working on an album,
Okay.
album number 10. It's the first one. It's the first one since 2013 with vocals on it.
Okay.
So I'm pretty excited because it's almost like I've been working on this album my whole life. You know, it's like a collection of my best stuff, unreleased, and it's been a long road. So I'm super
Okay.
excited.
So what makes this the best? Is it just the process that it took, or the quality of the music?
I would say both of those, right? So quality of music, the the road I've taken getting here. Now I can use all my experiences, all my skills, and the
Mm.
concept of the album is freedom. The title of the album is Uhuru, which is Swahili for freedom. And now I'm at a point in my life where I'm free,
Yeah.
free from emotional prison, free from financial prison, and most importantly, free from mental prison.
I love it.
I'm so excited.
As you should be. So, what is it like, being a creative producer and, working in your field?
Working in my field, when it comes to like the event production and having to manage so many clients, it's tiring, but it's also really, really fulfilling. You
Okay.
know, I feel every day I'm fulfilled because I'm doing the things I love. You know what I'm saying? Whether I'm working for my own company or working for someone else's for that day, I still really, really enjoy what I'm doing. I get to spend 3 or 4 days a week on some sort of a stage or in front of an audience, whether it's performing, mixing, or teaching. It's so fulfilling. It's joy. It
Yeah.
makes me really happy.
And so you would say this is your purpose, this is your passion. You connect with people through music.
Yep, connecting people through music and yeah, music and information. Because the public speaking and teaching people really excites me. Like when I learn something, I'm coaching myself through what I learned just so I can teach someone else.
Mm-hmm.
The music is like another vehicle. But you know, they said back in the day that a rapper and a preacher would really be the same thing. You know, before the technology age and the digital age, it was one person telling the stories through song and dance, and it's
Mm-hmm.
evolved in so many ways. But I still feel both parts of that. You know, it's a duality for me.
Yeah. So with public speaking, are you teaching business, or is it more
I
so of motivation, encouragement, like life experiences?
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting way to put it. So I'm not really teaching business in the traditional sense, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling my story of how I built my business, and then
Okay.
it's motivation, inspiration. I call it productivity, which is kind of like a combination of the two. Because some of my students are, some of my students want to do music and they want to hear about the albums, my creative process. Some of my students are passionate about basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my students are adults who want to learn about finance or how to manage their money and how do they start a business.
Okay. So when you say
So it's a
student,
combination.
is it like a course that you're doing, or you're actually at a location?
So I teach for a nonprofit called the Motivational Edge. They have a location in Alapata, Miami. Or Alapata is the name of the city, but Miami is the greater Miami area. I teach, and that's grade school students. I also teach for a for-profit called Entrepreneur, and that is we teach at different studios every other Saturday. So every other Saturday we got a different uh, It's mostly the same group of youth. So these are high school and junior high school students. Most of them are either in high school or transitioning to high school shortly. And then I also do and then I also do speaking engagements at high schools and colleges.
Okay, and what high schools or what colleges have you spoken at?
Well, I spoke at my alma mater, which is Full Sail University.
Okay.
So that was that's the college, that's the main school I've been able to speak at.
Okay.
I spoke at Valdosta a few years ago. And then Martin Luther King High School in Atlanta. And then, of course,
I spoke there before.
Had to bring it back home to South Cobb.
I love it. So what keeps you motivated?
Wow. What keeps me motivated today? My motivation is people.
Okay.
Family's a big part of my motivation. And then I'm always finding someone else who's inspirational. Like I'm always finding a speaker who is accomplished or an artist who's accomplished. Other people's business acumen really gets me excited. Knowing that I can accomplish more, just that in itself keeps me motivated. My own potential, like when I think about the things I can do and the people that I can impact, that's probably my biggest motivation.
Mhm. Awesome. So, what do people say about you? Like, what are some things that you hear that people compliment you about or compliment you on?
I get, and at first I used to take it as a bad thing, but I get that I have an old soul. I've been told that a lot. Like when I tell people, from the time I was about 22 and I really started taking my career in technology, production, music, just everything I'm involved in, when I started taking it all serious, that's what I was getting, man. You're an old soul, you really mature. You know, I can't believe you was born when you was born. You know, you seem so much older. The other thing I get from my students, which is really dope, is that, man, you're really inspirational. You know, I had a young man tell me, you know, I really see something in you. I can't put my finger on it, but I can tell you're going to be great. You need more brothers like you. He said this, that I still see that young man. He's in a lockdown facility, but I still see him all the time. And I never forget that he said that to me. Because that's what I do it for. I do it, you know, he's in a lockdown facility because he committed a crime or something of a lesser degree, maybe like truancy. But still, the fact that I can get through to him and he can see something in me and I'm able to put that back into him, that's also what keeps me motivated. And that's one thing my students have been saying. So it's been the sting of, I see something in you, keep going. You're really inspirational. You're really influential. So that's my spiel on that portion.
Well, that's a good thing for people to say.
Yeah, it's a really dope feeling. You know, I challenge myself every day to live up to that.
Mhm. I love it. So let's talk about your background and where you're from. Like, how has where you're from, you know, shaped you today, and you know, what did you see that inspired you to tap into music?
So I would say, I was born in Queens, New York, and I've been visiting Jamaica since I was a baby. My dad is from the projects in Brooklyn, and my mom is from Kingston, Jamaica. So I kind of been there. It's different places, but it's similar. I kind of been walking those lines, and I've been able to enjoy both cultures. My parents, my mom married my stepdad at 8 when I was 8, so he's been around for a long time. I consider him like my real dad. And just knowing he was from the project, and there was a point in time when both his parents was not a part of his life and he kind of had to take care of himself. And then seeing my mom come from a third world country and her dad was never a part of her life. She was born and he kind of just disappeared. He had kids all over the place. And just see how hard they worked Like when I was young, my aunts and my neighbors took care of me because my parents was working all the time. So just seeing how hard they worked and how much they achieved now. Right now they got a house that'll be worth a couple $1 million in a few years. They just got this big house in Mapleton a year ago. So seeing them come from, I literally grew up in a basement. And then now seeing my brother and my sister able to have this big house, 3 floors, like 10 rooms in it, the pool in the backyard.
The come up is real.
Going from one thing to that and just knowing all hard work, because it was just hard work. It's a lot of information that they didn't have. There's a lot of things they didn't know. There's a lot of things they still don't know now, but they still was able to achieve that. So for me and my generation, I say it's no excuse, because you could literally get a college course on YouTube.
That is true.
That wasn't a reality for them.
I always tell people you gotta.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said I always tell people you gotta ask Google the right questions.
Yeah, and then just seeing my family. A lot of my family, my mom is unique. I was really raised by my mom from my mom's side of the family. That's why my Jamaican influence is so strong. But a lot of my family never made it out of that poverty. Some of them kind of just became addicted to it. My mom didn't let that happen to me. So seeing some of those things, even now, as an adult, knowing that the work I put in directly will affect my children, the same way the work my mom and my dad put in directly affect me and affected how I think.
So you mentioned so I know you said Jamaican. Your Jamaican influence. Does your song reflect that as well? Any of the style?
Yes. So it's real interesting. the sound before, and this is why I tell people now don't sleep on their greatness, because before this island theme, this Afro beat popped off, I had been making songs like that, but I had to find the confidence and the love of myself to even put them out. And now it's literally been years. Like some of these songs I wrote in 2012, and now everybody got music like this. Drake, Chris Brown. It's like, man, now people are gonna think that I hopped on this wave. But on my new album, I have one reggae crossover song. But the really popular genre in Jamaica right now is dancehall. So like if you know Rihanna's music like Work, that's a dancehall song. So I got dancehall music, and the same thing where like I got songs that are so old school New York. That's why the album is really, really, it's really unique, because I'm kind of like switching genres. Dancehall, it's kind of like the Afro beat, like Burna Boy, like it's like his music is like an African rap, but it's actually its own genre. But because black people all over the planet connect on being black, it sounds similar. It's kind of the same kind of deal.
Right.
The answer was kind of long-winded, but I guess that's a yes.
I love it. So you mentioned about being confident. What advice do you have for someone who is looking to find their self through their roots and, explore their culture?
Oh, that's an awesome question. So first thing is that we are spirits having a human experience.
All right.
Right? I definitely believe that when it comes to the confidence. So the body you have, the mind you have, the facial feature you have, the height you are, those things are all gifts, despite how you may or may not see them. And you cannot change those things. You can destroy them, but you cannot change those things. And when it comes to the culture, like I know some people who, there's a lot of Haitian bashing that happens all over this country, right? And I've also fallen in love with the Haitian culture. I have a Haitian uncle. And there's a lot of Haitian bashing. There's a lot of people who are, for a long time, Haitians were ashamed to say they were Haitians. Just because of the negative stereotypes. Even if you were American born and raised, and as far as you can trace your roots back, be proud of who you are, because it's who you are. It's not going to change, and it's beauty in all cultures. There's beauty in all cultures. There's somebody in your shoes who loves their culture or somebody in your shoes who hates their culture. But explore your culture. That's the main thing that happens with me being born here and consider myself Jamaican still, is that people would try to say you aren't something you know you are. But if you're genuinely rooted in something, nobody can take that away from you. So explore your culture, explore the music, explore the food, visit where your family's from, visit your mother's land, really get to know it and genuinely develop a love for it.
I love it. That was a great answer. Okay, so are you currently reading any literature? You sound very intelligent. What are you reading?
So, book-wise, I get a lot of ebooks.
Okay.
But more than right now, I'm working on a woman named Monica Reyes. She's actually a life coach. I have a session with her once a week. She has an ebook. I can't remember the name of it, and I don't want to give you the wrong name. But I listen to a lot of speeches. I'm more of an audible learner and a visual learner than I don't know what you would call somebody who reads a lot. But finishing a novel or a biography or any type of book is always a struggle for me because I have so many different ideas that go through my mind that it's really tough for me to sit and read a book. A book that changed my life, though, was Retire Young, Retire Rich by Robert Kiyosaki, the same guy who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
So what are some challenges that you face?
Okay, I would say I had to overcome all the things they didn't teach us in school. Like, they definitely don't teach us how to be financially literate unless you go get an accounting degree. And I don't even think they really teach you how to take care of your own money in that sense. I wouldn't know as I became my own accountant. But definitely money management, understanding business law, understanding contracts, understanding what they call it, FOMO. So I would say all the things that really make you an adult. Fear of missing out and being broke at the same time. That's a big one. We never really learned how to do our taxes. No one taught us how to manage money. I mean, they told us how bad credit cards can be, but a lot of us had to learn that on our own. And I definitely that's definitely the shoes I walked in. Doubt. People will doubt you all day. Like when I first started Nova Sound, and it's funny because I've grown to be such a big person through the whole experience. But I remember when I started Nova Sound, this dude was like, and I had already had the business in my mind since like grade school. It just evolved, and then now it's approaching a form where it's actually something I could distribute and sell products, a vehicle I can use in the marketplace. But I had a man tell me, man, that's too hard, man. That's too hard. You know, a lot of people, that's too hard. You shouldn't do that. Do this. Why don't you just go get a full-time job? Why don't you put this idea down? Why don't you put the music down? Go be a doctor. I remember a teacher in high school told me that. It was kind of sad because I really looked up to him. So it kind of hurt when he told me that. You know, there's a lot of doubt. Overcoming the doubt, and that's the one thing I tell the youth. As long as you believe in you, it really don't matter. But you got to be honest and believe in yourself. For example, I told this young man recently, because he about 6, he want to be a basketball player. I said there's leagues all across the planet. 10 years old, you're probably going to be like 6, 7. You could, but not if you're smoking weed every day. I believe in you. But if you're going to smoke weed every day and drink alcohol and not study and flunk out of school and be getting arrested, you're not going to make it to the league. I want you to be realistic with your dreams. You already had the God-given talent to do it. And then it was dope because he's so much bigger than me, but at the same time, it was almost like I was talking to a younger me.
Okay. So how has your faith played a role in your success?
And that's, so you mean like believing in something?
Just believing and hoping and... You know, do you
Yeah, so
pray?
that's
Do you
awesome.
believe in the universe, the higher power?
That's awesome. So my family has been split between Rastafarianism and Christianity. I just want to put that out there so I can get my thoughts together. My family has been split between Rastafarianism and Christianity. It's not something they ever fight about, though, but it has been the case from I was born. So for me, I know I can see the similarities between the two, and that, like I had said earlier, we are spiritual beings living the human experience. But I definitely believe that we are in control of our own destiny. So what you want, you can achieve. I pray. I do pray. I believe in the power of our ancestors, like the people who paved the way for us. I believe that that's very real. And that's why, my grandmother compares me to my granddad, who her relationship ended with maybe almost 30, 40 years ago. Their relationship ended a long time ago. But she compares me to him all the time. She says I look like him. I drink his favorite beer. I sing like he does. And I find that so ironic because beyond it just being genetic, like to me, that's a higher power. There's nothing else that can explain how those things can just be passed down. So for me, faith is a belief in yourself. I think that's the best way I can answer that question. That was kind of tough. I appreciate that though, because if I get that in the future, I know how to answer
it. Cool. Now you said singing. So what are your musical strengths?
My musical strengths. I'm a poet or a lyricist. I say poet first because sometimes if you cut the music out, a lot of people can't stand. They're just entertainers, right? But I feel like the poets actually say something, even if it's vulgar, even if it's derogatory. They're still saying something of substance.
Right.
My mom and my dad can blow. Both of them are vocalists. My dad, chorus director, choir director. I'm not sure if he's won any awards, but I know he's led notable choruses and choirs. My mom is an amazing vocalist. I got a record. She's on the album. It's either going to be on this album or the album that I drop next December. And I've been trying to get her on it. I was fortunate enough to get one of her records from the 90s. She threw the rest of them away when I went away to college. I should have took them with me. I got one of her records so my parents can blow. Now, I can't sing as well as them, but I can hold the note.
Okay.
I'm also a music composer, several genres. Hip-hop, R&B, of course. Cinematic music, which is like scores, almost like classical, but it's a little more electronic. And I'm also a percussionist. So I collect percussion from different countries. I'm familiar with different kind of percussion instruments. I can pretty much get a quality sound, industry sound, a professional sound from any percussion instrument. Okay. And then the new wave, which is what they call controllerism, or I prefer MPCs because I stick with the brand of Kai, and it's almost like DJing, but you're triggering samples and making beats live. So that's one of my real passions. Like, I've always loved doing that. And now I'm at a point where I've practiced enough to the point where I can go out and perform, make it part of my set.
Yes. So you're musically inclined. So who's your favorite artist? Who you listen to?
I think one of the best artists, greatest of all time, is Alicia Keys.
Okay.
She got records on all her albums, but when I played them, I'm like, wow, time stopped. From her first album to her newest album, she just got records all over the place. Beautiful vocalist, such an amazing artist, and she always kept it classy. You know what I'm saying? I think she's an awesome role model for women. Then on the hip-hop side, one of my biggest influences, because he's from a neighborhood not too far from mine, is 50 Cent.
I love 50.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like him, because he does a lot of trolling and beefing, but his business-wise, his business mind, his business acumen is through the roof. And his first album is amazing. He makes great music. He's not the most lyrical artist, but the impact he's had on the culture it just speaks for itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then my third favorite artist is a Jamaican artist who got life in prison. His name is Vybz Kartel. Vybz Kartel, if you put him up against most rappers, he would win. But of course, he's rapping in a different dialect of English, so he has more of a cult following amongst people in the islands and people in Africa. He's not as big in America as, like, say, an artist like Movado. But musically, he's been running the game for a long time, and he's in his 40s, like the top-rated, top-string Jamaican artist for almost like 20 years straight. From prison these last 8 or 9 years, 7, 8 years, something like
that. Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's pretty dope.
So you're not inspired by Jay-Z at all?
Jay-Z's a big influence, but Jay-Z's from Brooklyn, so it kind of. Jay-Z's pretty dope though. Jay-Z's in my top 5. Jay-Z, Nas, and I'd probably say J. Cole, but those are my top 3.
Okay.
And I used to pretend like Jay-Z was a bigger influence than 50 Cent, because people wasn't really rocking with 50, but I can't even pretend no more. I gotta just be honest.
I love Queens. That's my favorite borough.
I'm telling you. But we slept on though, because Brooklyn is more, gritty. But since the 6ix9ine thing happened, I think everybody gonna switch over.
Right.
I think they're moving out of Brooklyn now.
Okay. What is some quotes that you live by?
Well, the number one that has been changing my life these past 24 months is like I said earlier, we are spirits living a human experience.
Okay.
That human experience is, we only here for a certain amount of time. Make the most out of it.
Okay.
That's probably the biggest one. And I hear so many quotes. I want to think of a really, really good one that resonates with me. Man.
I'm trying to say, if that's what comes out, that's a good one.
Money comes fast and easy. That's another one.
And easy.
Money comes fast and easy.
Okay.
We create our own reality. Those two go hand in hand for me. Because a lot of people struggle with money because they got so many negative thoughts about it. If you saying money is hard to get, now I'm struggling and I can't even pay my bills, you're just going to get more and more of that.
You speak. You see what you speak. All right.
Yeah, we're manifesting every moment of the day.
I love it. So is there anything else in particular that you would, want people to know about you?
Man. I consider myself a revolutionary. I'm still learning, I'm still growing. I'm going to make mistakes, especially as I become more and more of a public figure. I'm sure I'm going to make mistakes because we're human. But I definitely want to do things that have not been done before in ways that have not been done before.
All right. That new ways.
No.
And then what do you want people to think when they hear Nova Sound?
I want them to think innovative. I want them to feel inspired to do the things that will make them feel successful.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to think of freedom, whatever that means to them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's financial freedom for me. It's emotional freedom for me. It's mental freedom for me. It's freedom from the circumstances like a 9 to 5, unless that's what you want.
Right.
And on the production side, I want them to think quality like never before. Sound like never before. That's the slogan.
Okay. And then on a chill note, what do you do for fun outside of work?
I love playing basketball. I absolutely love playing basketball. I love playing basketball. Oh, I love traveling.
Okay.
But so a lot of what looks like work is chill, and a lot of what is chill is work. Like making music is one of the most fun things I could ever do, especially when I'm traveling. And it is work technically, right? But it's also a lot of fun.
Right.
Spending time with family. So that's what coming back to Cobb County is for me. It's spending time with family. Going to Jamaica is spending time with family.
Okay.
Playing basketball, spending time with friends, which is, family. What else? Sightseeing. I love sightseeing. Love going different places. I love being on the water, whether that's on the beach or in a boat.
Are you an earth sign?
Am I an earth sign? I wonder.
I mean, you like water, you like scenery. That's what it sounds like. You care for people.
Yeah, well, I was born in December 1992, so I wonder, I don't know.
What's your birthday?
I'm December 28th, 1992. I'm a Capricorn.
Wow. I'm December 29th, 1991.
What a coincidence.
Okay, God.
I don't think we've ever shared that before.
Nope.
Yeah. Are we earth signs? I don't know.
We are.
Okay, that makes perfect sense.
How would you describe yourself? So will we say you're a producer, you're a songwriter, or you're a songwriter?
I tell people I'm a published poet and music composer.
Okay.
And aside from the separation that gives me, is when they go to stream my music, it makes a little more sense. Because of the 9 albums I have out right now, only 2 of them have vocals on them. One of them is called Hell of a Year Legacy, which is all my music from high school. And then the other one is called Hot Trauma, which is a project I had released right after I finished college. The other albums are musical albums. Some of them are what people would call beat, and the other 3 is a trilogy where I describe what I was experiencing in life, I did it via music. And the 4th one is dropping this December, where I actually come out my shell and I'm rapping. So if people were to stream my music right now, if they Google G Novasani and start listening, they'd be like, "Oh, this is dope. This is not a rapper." You know what I'm saying? There's no lyrics on this. What is this? You know? Mm-hmm. My last album, O Synquanon, which is short for Ocean City Quanon or Essential Waters, was literally an album just for meditation. It's just beds of music with water in it. I travel. While I was recording the water, and it's just beds of music, water, just thinking music, meditation music, manifestation music, prosperity music, balance, relaxation, music you can listen to in a spa. Even though a beat might drop somewhere in the project, it's still music you listen to in a spa. So that's why I took the label of a composer, even though I do produce. I had that. That's one of the main things I'm able to do with the inner city youth. You know what I mean? They love beats. They love hip hop. So when you come in with some bars and you drop a beat, they're excited. You know, they think of you as a star. Now the words you say resonate with them a little more. So I am a producer, and I do make some rap songs, but I went with a published poet and music composer.
Okay. And so you're making like basically like what was that, instrumentals?
Yeah, so I got 7 instrumental albums and 2 hip hop albums. This third one coming, the next one coming out, which is lucky number 10, is a hip hop, R&B, dancehall, fusion. Got a few different genres on there, and then there'll be some cinematic music on there as well.
And this is for December?
This is December 28th.